Hi guys, and welcome to our second episode of Brocanting Spots and Confit Pots with Lizzie and James from Honeysuckle and Roses. Wow, episode 2.
I know. We got through episode 1
I know.
and we're back for another one.
I know. It feels a little bit more relaxed now.
Still a bit weird though.
It's still weird though, yeah.
You know, lights and things in the house.
I know. But it's good. It's good. We always talked about putting something together that gives a little bit of more of an insight into what we do.
Absolutely.
We talked about doing YouTube before, but I think it was a little bit scary. This is a little bit more relaxed. It's in our home. Guys, welcome to our home. Yeah, it's good. It's nice. It's nice to do something in our home and for people to get a bit of an insight into where we live and what our home is like.
And I think that, you know, the fact that our home reflects the business.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that we'll come across during this series is that what you see us talking about, and if you see us at fairs or if you see us out and about buying and selling, you know, there will be stuff that will be squirreled away.
Oh, yes.
By a certain little squirrel sitting opposite me.
Yes. And there are things that are like, oh, yeah, that'll sell after it's been in our home for 6 months. Which James kind of looks up. He'll be sitting in the living room and he'll look up at a shelf and he'll go, wasn't that meant to be for sale? And I'm like, yeah, it will be one day, just not now. And there'll be lots of bits and pieces like that, which we'll enjoy for a little while and then we'll sell it on.
And I think when we first started, that used to really annoy me.
Yeah, it really
because
did.
I'm like, you know, you can't do it. And you're like, no, I have to have this stuff.
Yeah, it really did. And we ended up not having much of it in the house at all because James wouldn't allow it. Like, we were really like, no, it's for sale. This is a business. We're buying to sell. But now I think you appreciate actually that it's part of what we do. It's part of our home. We love it. We want it in our home. And we swap it around. You know that I'll always get to the point where I'm like, right, time to move on and have something else in the home. So that goes.
So are you saying to people that if they see anything in any of the pictures that you put on Instagram or any other social platforms, they should just message you then say, can I buy this?
No, not really if it's in the home. Not really if it's in the home. But I think it's good for you guys to know that the things that we sell, I said it in the last podcast episode, the things that we sell are what we genuinely love, like what I love, what I have in my own home, what I enjoy having in our own home. You can style things out and make things look so lovely. They're old, some of them might be a bit battered, but you can make things look beautiful in your home. Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why I love doing what we do is going around finding things, being creative with stuff. It's just such good fun.
Absolutely. And in the last episode, we talked a bit about kind of how we first started and where it all kind of came from. And I thought it'd be good for us just to recap some of that at the beginning of this episode, kind of our first trip ever.
Yeah.
You know, some of the recap. So, yeah, we talked about you going on the ferry, driving on the wrong side of the road,
a couple of close misses. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that,
but you brought
it up. So, you know,
of course you were.
And arriving at the chateau, and I mean, we've been asked from the first episode to leave some more details about the chateau. So what we'll do is we'll insert some pictures here. We'll leave a link for you to follow that, and I'm sure that Tom and Rachel would be delighted if people wanted to stay there. It's such a beautiful part of the country.
Yeah, and I should also add that I did write a blog post about that whole experience. So that's available to read on the website. So if you do fancy popping across, we'll leave the link to our website too. And the details are on there of the chateau, of the apartment as well. It's just such... yeah, it's just such a beautiful place. It's worth considering. It's on the outskirts of Paris. It's so close, actually. We didn't on this trip. We didn't get a chance to, but you can catch the train, and you're in Paris.
40 minutes.
Yeah, which is so quick. So yeah, so it's also the other thing. Actually, is just remembered is it's the Champagne region. Where this is the Champagne region, isn't it? So there are plenty of champagne houses. you'll drive through the countryside and you'll see these beautiful champagne or grape field vineyards, just stunning. Like just to see that, so yeah, bear that in mind. Go and have a look and see what you think. But we'll include some pictures so you get an idea of what we're talking about.
So we left the last one talking about the fact that we'd started a business from kind of nothing really, and how almost in disbelief we were. How this happened. We got back. We started going backwards and forwards to France. How were we selling? You talked about Instagram, but were there other ways that we were selling?
Yeah, so we had initially had a small website page. We used Big Cartel at the time, quite basic, I think it was. But it was nice and easy for me to set up. I set it up just selling. And we'd been using that for a while. And then we upped that onto Squarespace, which gave us the ability to maybe post videos in the future or write blog posts. Also, we started looking at the fairs we were selling at and increasing sort of our catchment of fairs that we were interested in going to. So there were two main fairs that we really enjoyed. The first one that we began to go to was the Country Brocant. That was it's just an absolutely beautiful fair. Began in West Sussex. It's now expanded into other areas in the UK. It's run by Lucy. It's one of the most beautiful fairs to be part of.
So for someone who's never been, describe, and we'll leave some links below, but describe what it's like.
It's one of those fairs you walk into and your jaw drops. We went there a couple of times just as buyers, didn't we? Just to see what this fair is about. And it's a large number of dealers who buy and sell French things, English things, all sorts of different products that they have sourced themselves, all brought into one space, a huge marquee. Maybe on some occasions there's more than one marquee. Sometimes there's outside stands in warmer weather. But it's the feel of it is just beautiful. There's the lighting is just spot on. I don't know, there's something so special about her fairs.
Yeah, and there's nothing quite like. I remember we were at one at Dalesford Farm, and I went out with another dealer just to go and get coffee. We were about 20 minutes from opening. Went out, get coffee, and we walked outside, and there was about 400 people queuing up to come in, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. It's she started, I think Lucy started off, there was a small fair that was in Wisborough Green, and we went to that one. It was in a village hall, and it's gone into marquees, and now it's been in the Cotswolds. It's been Dalesford. That's a big venue.
Places, yeah.
And just a beautiful fair to be part of. And I think initially when we did our first fair, it was a bit like, whoa, this is above us, we're not good enough to be here. And then we stepped into it, didn't we? And we improved and we found more and we were able to bring more to the fairs. And yeah, we enjoyed doing that one. Another one that we enjoy very much is the Dorset Brocant. And we started to do that early days. We were starting to do that one. And that's run by Sally and Andy, who are lovely friends of ours. Sally she runs that. Andy would say I'm not involved, but he helps. But Sally is just one of those loveliest people. And it's just an incredibly beautiful fair. As the title of the fair suggests, it's in Dorset. You love it.
It's one of my favourites. I think the venue where it's held, I think twice a year now, the Lammertree Gardens, which is in a place called Tollard Royal, which again is in Dorset, not far from Salisbury, and it's stunning.
Yeah,
it's a wedding venue, and you've got two halls, outside space. There's peacocks, macaws in the grounds. It's just, you couldn't think of a more picturesque venue to have.
So do you remember what happened then? We'd gone with one car, and then
I do remember. Yes, somebody decided that it would be a good idea to go and get another car full.
I do that a lot, don't I? We do several
Yeah,
trips on quite a few occasions.
It's a 2-day fair,
Yeah.
and it's a 3-hour drive each
I
way.
know.
So we went down, set up.
Yeah, but the issue was at the end, we couldn't fit everything back into the car to take home. Do you remember? We had to, and I think we gave a few bits away because we couldn't fit it all in to go home.
I think we might have done, which people were like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I do remember throwing a birdcage in a skip after one, which felt absolutely criminal. But if you can't fit it in, you can't drive down the motorway with a birdcage on the top of the car.
We learned our lesson. But the Dorset Brocant and the Country Brocant were two of the main sort of fairs we were doing, and we were doing some smaller, perhaps local ones as well alongside that. But yeah, it was good to get. It was really good to get going with fairs. So fairs and website. Website became a big thing for us, didn't it? And we were really pushing that. We would be going out to France at the weekend, and then you would be off to work, and I would be uploading the website, taking pictures, shipping, and then we'd be back out to France the next weekend.
Absolutely. And one of your favourite things, you talked about them in the last one. We've got stacks of these all over our house. Are soupiers.
Yeah. So as I said in the last episode, one of the things that we found on our first trip was a soupier. And these are things, I'll lift it up so that you can see. This one is actually a lovely one. I think this has probably got its original lid to it. But I love the handles. You can see the handle there. They're just so decorative and elegant. Just the shape of it is just so beautiful. Always great when you've got the lid. Always great. You'll find them usually in white. But if they're a little bit older, you very often will find that they have a beautiful mottled effect on them. So they almost go a yellow colour. I have a stack of those in the living room, and perhaps we'll take a shot for you. The colour of them is just beautiful, and I love to find those. But equally, the white ones are amazing, and they look so good, especially if you have a collection of them. Anything looks great with a collection. So I've got in my cupboard, there's loads just stacked up and looks so good.
That's what I say to customers, My wife says that you have to have everything 3s and 5s. You can't just buy one of anything.
No, it's true. A collection of things looks much better than just one on its own. So we'll have soupiers available on the website at the time of filming. So if you'd like to pop over and have a look and see if there's anything there that takes your fancy. Again, I said confit pots are my favourite, but I love picking up soupiers. And we will, if they're in good enough condition, we will pick them up whenever we can.
And a lot of them don't come with the lids because they've been smashed.
Yeah,
so,
and that doesn't matter. I think I don't mind too much. I think they look great. You can use these as planters as well. They look lovely with spring bulbs in, a little bit of moss on the top. It looks so good. But just on their own. And if they're in good enough condition, you can use them as for food, because that's what they were originally designed for. So another one of my favourite things I like to pick up.
Absolutely. And I think that, as you go around France, you will find different things in different places.
Yeah.
And, we were predominantly starting in the north, Paris and above, and a lot of soupiers do come from that region. There are some that come from further south. I'm one of these people now, and my friends would find it very funny from growing up. I pick up pieces of pottery, turn it over to look for the maker's mark on the bottom, to see where it's come from.
We'll go into more of that when we talk about ironstone. In one of our future episodes, we'll be talking about ironstone, and the marks are important to look out for.
Absolutely.
And James is really good at that, but we'll touch on that in a future episode.
Absolutely. Going back to one of the questions we were asked in the first episode, or the big question that we get asked, which is where in France do we go? I talked about how we found our markets.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you a good tip here, guys. So listen up. There's a website.
This is a secret. Well, it's not. Do you know what? It's not a secret. The information
it's a secret,
is out
but it's
there.
not a secret. Yeah.
But no one really talks about it too much because they don't want to give too much away. So listen good here.
So I'm going to tell you about a website. It's called brocanting.fr. It is in French, but Google's fantastic because there's a little button that you click on it and it says translate. All goes into English. Wonderful. So I discovered that when we did our first trip. And what's really good about it is that you can put in the area where you are, and it will give you all of the fares that are happening within a 40-kilometer radius, which is really, really helpful. Now, obviously that doesn't help you plan a route, because then you have to kind of go onto Google Maps and find out where these places are. But it's a really good starting point. So let's say, for argument's sake, you went on holiday to Paris. You could put the area of Paris where you are, type in the 5-digit code of the region, and away you go. It'll give you that. So that's a little tip for you.
This is James's field of expertise. I definitely don't know anything about this side of things. James, always, you're so good at this, aren't you? You will go and plot our trip. So we'll be going out somewhere and you'll look it up. And when we go, you will have pages of possible places, brocants, shops for us to visit. And so if one is closed or hasn't happened, how many times have we rocked up to markets and we can't find them,
and it doesn't exist,
and it's just not there? Like,
because somebody decided that they weren't going to do it.
Yeah, or it's been cancelled and we didn't know about it. So we're going to the next one. And it's good. He's so good at it.
So there's a nice bit of information for you. If you like that bit of information and you want more information like that, do consider going to our buy a coffee link, which is buymeacoffee.com/honeysuckle and roses. Because the more of this kind of content that we create, the more of these kind of hints and tips we can give you. So yeah, I think also on that, brocants only really happen on a Saturday and mainly a Sunday.
Yeah, there's a few there are the odd one or two during the week.
Depending on where in the country.
But it's mainly the weekends. So, of course, on that first trip, I think we were hooked after that weekend. And so we started to look for other places, didn't we, that we might be able to find. So we found some shops and we spent quite a lot of time looking at antique shops, brocanting shops. There, very often you'll find brocant shops here and there. And I think the antiques can sometimes be fine antiques.
Yeah.
And that's not what we do in our business. We're much more relaxed country style.
Decorative style, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different style. I would say, look up brocant shops near you, wherever you are. Have a look, see what the pictures are like. That's always gives you a bit of an indication as to whether something is worth a visit. If you can have a look and search for images of a shop. So we did a bit of that during the week, didn't we?
Yeah, and we went to some places that were kind of within an hour. We kind of set ourselves an hour as the kind of radius around. And there were some good ones. And then there were some other ones which weren't necessarily quite so good. But, I think it's like with everything, you live and learn, and then you kind of squirrel away, you make a note, put that in your diary or whatever, to keep that information for the next time.
Yeah.
One of the questions that we get asked a lot, obviously Brexit has now happened, so things are different.
Oh, good old Brexit.
Yeah, thank you.
It was bound to raise its head at some point.
Thank you, Boris. Really appreciate that.
Oh.
I'm going on holiday. I'm buying for myself. Do I need to pay tax?
Yeah, it's a good question. We get that a lot. That we get so many questions about Brexit and about how it's impacted our business. And there's no doubt it has impacted our business in a major way. And for other dealers as well. We all say the same thing. It's huge for us. If you are going out on holiday and you are just buying for your home, you do not need to pay taxes.
So I could just go out and buy thousands of pounds of stuff and come back?
So it's the same principle as if you were going to the States, for example. You have a limit as to how much you can spend before you have to pay taxes. And the same is applicable when you're going out on holiday in France now. So you need to bear that in mind. Obviously, if there are two of you going out, you both have your individual allowance, which actually works out at quite a nice amount of money. But that is if you're buying for yourself at home. We don't want to delve too much into this because it is quite a big topic. But what we will say is if you are going to sell, if you are going to buy, to sell in any way, in any shape, in any form, you really do need to pay taxes. It is the law. You are required to pay taxes. You are breaking the law if you don't. So you need to look into that. There are people that we know that we could have on our future podcasts if that's something you'd be interested in, and perhaps we can have a chat with them and get them involved. And they will be able to give you more information on that and steer you in the right direction. There's a lot to learn if you are buying to sell now. The playing field has changed, and those things are really important.
Yeah, I think our advice on that is to say, as Liz has said, if you're buying for yourself, stick to the limits, or go onto the government website. It tells you what they are.
Yeah.
If you are buying to sell, get some advice, get help.
Yeah.
There are people out there that do this, but don't chance it.
No.
Don't go on holiday, buy stuff for yourself, and then you're going to sell it. Saying you're going to sell it, saying you're going to buy it for yourself, and then you sell it. It's just not worth the risk.
No, it's better. Stick to the rules, and it makes going through customs a lot less stressful if you know you've done everything you should have done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're going on holiday, or if you're going anyway, the main thing we would really say is just enjoy it. It is such a good experience. It's why we're still here doing it, because we loved it. It was so much fun.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? You do this because you love it.
Yeah.
It's an extension of what brings you joy.
Yeah.
And I think that some people just see it as a job. And I think when you see something just as a job, it becomes, sometimes dull, boring, monotonous. Yeah. Oh, I've got to go to France again. Got to fill up the van again.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people do that if they don't enjoy it.
I just think I want to enjoy my job. You spend a lot of time working, and I've been in jobs where I haven't really enjoyed it, and this is just not like that.
Yeah.
And it's why, for me, it's such a big deal, and it's why we want to share it with you guys, because we love what we do. So
have
fun, definitely.
I think we've talked in this episode about our first ever trip, done a bit of a recap on that. I've given you some information. brocabrac.fr, don't forget it.
Yeah.
We've talked about places where we've sold, experiences we've had, which has been great. And please, please, please have fun when you do this.
Yeah.
Because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Yeah. What's absolutely enjoy it. There's plenty. You learn so much, and you will develop as you go, and you will find new places, new people, new contacts.
I think that's one of the other things as well, is that we feel like we've just met some amazing people.
Yeah.
There, haven't we?
We've made friends out there, and they go and source for us. There's more to talk about in future episodes, but yeah, we hope this has been of use to you, and maybe spark some interest in doing something similar.
Yeah. And if you've got questions that you want to ask us, or things that you think, I'd really like to know about this, send us messages on Instagram is probably the best way.
Yeah.
But do leave comments below. Again, for those who are watching on YouTube, there's an opportunity to put your comments in. But do subscribe for whichever platform you are watching or listening on.
It makes a massive difference if you're able to subscribe and press the like button and all of that jazz. It really helps us out as a channel. We're just starting off. We want to do more of these if you guys enjoy it. That would help us out.
And don't
massively.
forget the buy coffee link, which we'll leave below as well. So it's been great being with you. Take care, and we'll see you again on the next one.